from Becca Harkin's Art. Did you know that Pantone chose Viva Magenta as their 2023 color of the year? I am going to be starting out the year doing a series of paintings using Viva Magenta. This is the color that I mixed up that is closest as I could get to Pantone's Viva Magenta. I mixed this color using 3 colors, one of which might be a surprise to you. I started out with Liquitex Quinacridone Magenta, which is probably not a surprise, but this is a little bit too purple. So I added in some primary red and a couple mixes of red actually, but mostly primary red. And it was still too light, too pinky. I wanted to just get it a little bit more earthy. So I actually added some phthalo green. You might think, oh my gosh, it's gonna make it mud, but if you don't add too much, it actually just kind of tones it down and makes it a little bit more earthy. And that's how I got this exact color that I'm gonna be painting with today. So I'm gonna be doing a few different paintings using this color in a few different styles and a few different mixtures and combinations of paint with this. So in honor of Pantone and the 2023 color of the year, here we go. When I'm painting a split composition, I like to start out by drawing a line to divide the top from the bottom or the left from the right, just so I have a guideline to go by when I'm pouring my paint. So for this painting, I am going to have the Viva Magenta on the top. I poured a generous amount in the middle, and then I'm just going to go through and use my blow dryer to move the paint around the canvas, push it to the edges, and try to get it even. I did mix this paint a little bit thinner than some of my last pours, and I really like the consistency of this paint. I think I got it just right. Sometimes when I mix in the bottle, I test it and it's good, and I let it sit for a little while, and then it's just too thick when I go to use it. So this one I actually took from 2 pre-mixed bottles, mixed them together, added some white, added some phthalo green, as I said, and then I added the water to the right consistency, and it came out just right. So then I'm going to take my blowtorch and go over the canvas here and just blow out any of the bubbles. Since this paint was more recently mixed, it does have some bubbles in it still. But the Viva Magenta and the red were already pre-mixed with the Floetrol like weeks ago. So when you take 2 pre-mixed paints and mix them together, they don't have near as many bubbles as if I just had mixed it up fresh today. Anyhow, on the bottom I've got Phthalo Blue, which is my favorite blue color. I know there's ultramarine and cerulean and a bunch of different colors, but I really like Phthalo Blue. I love when it mixes with white. I feel like it creates these like really nice gradients of dark blues to light blues. It really dries really nicely. Well, really dark actually, but it has so much variation when it mixes with the color. So I've got the Viva Magenta on the top and the Phthalo Blue on the bottom. Okay, as I finish blowing this out, I want to start talking about my pour colors. I am really going for a lot of cells in here, so I have a whole bunch of metallics mixed up. I am going to be pouring, first of all, I'm going to be putting down an Amsterdam Pearl Blue color, and that is going to mix in really nicely with the magentas and in the blues. It's one of those colors that when it goes over a light color, it's lighter, and then when it goes over the dark color, it's darker but blue, if that makes sense. And I also do find that those pearl colors tend to sell up really nicely. So I'm putting the finishing touches here, and then we'll get into my pour colors. The first color that I'm going to put down here is titanium white. I like to put this color down underneath my metallics because I feel like it really helps to separate it from the colors that are underneath. When I went to pour this, I realized I didn't actually have a whole lot of white left in this bottle. I thought I had a little bit more than I did. And I probably would have actually laid this first line a little bit thicker, but you know what? You go with what you have, and I was already in the middle of the painting, so I just kept going. The next color that I put down here is that pearl color that I was talking to you about. Just kidding, it's not the pearl color. The next color is Cerulean Blue. I wanted to have a little bit of a variation of a blue, and I don't know if you saw on my social media, I did a painting. It was a split composition. I only recorded it in like hyperlapse. I didn't have a video to teach you how I did it, but I did use that Cerulean Blue along with the Phthalo Blue, and it created some really nice gradients. So here is the pearl color that I was telling you about. This is one of the Amsterdam Pearl colors, and it looks like white when it's going down, but as it dries, it changes colors like a chameleon based on the color that's beneath it. If it's over the white that's going on there, it'll be like a really, really light hue, and when it's over some of the darker colors, it'll show up a much darker version of itself. So you can actually get some really nice cells and some really nice gradients using those pearl colors. On top of that, I've got silver, and then on top of the silver, I'm going to come in with copper. On top of the copper, I'm going to add gold. And just like I said, I've got a lot of metallic going on here. And that is it for my pour colors. The next thing that I'm going to do is come in here with my blow dryer, and I am going to blow the Viva Magenta over the center line a little bit to start that cell reaction. And then I'm going to go and blow the Phthalo Blue back over in the other direction. I like to get a little bit of the Viva Magenta on the one side and a little bit of blue on the other side. And then I'm going to start in the dip, right? It's like almost in the middle in the dip, and I blow out towards the one side, and oh my goodness, look at those colors! They're so amazing. I was so happy when I first saw this. Like, there's just like rainbow gradients. It's like unicorn magic or whatever. I was just so excited by these colors. And then I'm coming back in the other side, and I'm blowing out in the other direction. But not only am I blowing in the other direction, I'm also taking this paint up towards the top of the painting. I've done this type of split composition on smaller canvases several times, and it always produces this upward motion of energy and color. And I have had people tell me that they find these paintings in this composition very emotional, and I have to agree. There's just so much going on there, and people see different things in the painting, and the energy and the movement just goes upward, and it's a very positive, very uplifting feeling to a split composition that is blown out in this direction. So here I am just taking a look at the painting. That bottom corner there, I felt like it needed to go down a little bit. Perfect, love that. I love those lines going into the blue and the white. I think it's simple and it's nice. I am starting to think at this point, I feel like it's a little bit not balanced. There's so much going on the one side going up towards the top, which you're seeing as the left bottom. But from my perspective, it's the top right. And then the other side, it just doesn't feel balanced to me. So here I'm just kind of observing the composition. I'm giving some time for the cells to come out. And then I'm trying to decide what I want to do to make this a little bit more balanced. So the first thing that I'm doing here is taking a little bit more of those pearl colors from Amsterdam, and I'm adding it to the top because I kind of ran out of color up there, and I don't like it looks a little bit muddy. We're missing a little bit of the pizzazz up in that top corner. So I'm just going back in, adding some of my metallics. I added some of the pearl color, just giving it a little bit up there, and here I'm trying to get the little bit of the last bit of white out, which is not coming out very well for me. There we go. Wanted some of that white for the contrast to just bring in the balance from the rest. I've got some more of that cerulean blue that I'm adding in here. And then I am going to take my blow dryer and I'm going to blow out that top section to finish it out and really give it that, get the color to be balanced. I also want to bring some of that energy inward, similar to the composition of that last painting I was telling you about. I felt like there was just too much negative space there, and I kind of wanted to bring that in and fill that a little bit, which I really like how that looks. But then I'm thinking to myself, okay, that accentuated the lack of color and depth in the bottom part. So I'm trying to figure out if I need to add more color or if I just need to blow it around. Giving it a little bit more time for the top to develop. Having a conversation with my husband about what he thinks I should be doing. If you see those extra legs and those hands coming in there. I do love that he comes down and paints with me. He doesn't really paint, but he films for me and he gives me his opinion, and I really do value it. So as you can see there, I just decided to take the blow dryer and take some of that white paint and just curl it around, and I'm very happy. I feel like it's smaller than the top, but it balances it. And the colors are just so beautiful here. I really, really am happy. The surprise ending is possibly my favorite part of pour painting. When I go into a project, I can choose my colors, I can choose my composition, choose my method, I can blow the hair dryer or tilt the canvas how I want, but at the end of the day, I do not have full control over how it's going to turn out. And that's just the beauty in the process, and that's the way life goes too. Oftentimes things do not go how we wish that they went. Our marriages might not go how they want. Our children might not behave the way that they want. We might feel like a failure or like things are falling apart, but there's always beauty. There's always something good to fix your eyes on. And that is a lesson that I have learned a very hard way, but I attempt to practice in my daily life. And pour painting helps me have a physical way to practice what I want to practice in my mind on a daily basis. Thank you so much for joining me today. Please make sure that you like this video, subscribe to my channel. I appreciate it. I appreciate all of your comments and all of your feedback. It really, really does mean a lot to me, and I do read every single one of your comments, and I try to give feedback or answer questions as best as I can. I am still relatively new on my painting journey, believe it or not. It has only been about a year that I've been pour painting, but I love it and I feel like I've come a long way. And the process of doing this and the peace that it brings to my mind is so important to me. I just feel like I need to share it. And I like to teach it and I like to give people tips, and it brings me so much joy when other people find joy in pour painting as well.